The crowd at the Willow Creek Summer Fair in Kansas erupted into chaos the moment the MC announced my name, not because of my beats, but because of the secret that had just exploded across social media. I, Francis Reynolds, was gay. What happened next would flip my entire world upside down and force me to question everything I thought I knew about love, family, and who I really was. It was a humid July evening, the kind where the air smelled of popcorn and diesel from the fairground rides. I had driven 6 hours from Chicago back to my hometown, excited to give back with a free set at the annual fair. My mixes had been blowing up online, and the local organizers had begged me to headline the main stage. "Francis, you're our hometown hero," they said. My mother had even hung a banner outside the family hardware store. "Welcome home, DJ Francis." Dad stood beside her in the front row, arms crossed, his usual stoic expression hiding what I knew was pride mixed with the same old pressure. He wanted me married to a nice girl from church, running the store, living the life he and Mom had built. I stepped up, headphones on, bass ready to drop. The first track hit, lights flashing across the field packed with familiar faces. Old classmates, neighbors, the guy who used to coach my little league team. For 30 seconds it felt perfect. Then phones lit up. Whispers turned to shouts. Someone in the back yelled, "He's a liar." A screenshot from an old Chicago Pride event circulated like wildfire. Me kissing a guy under rainbow flags, timestamped 2 years ago. The boos started low, then swelled until they drowned out the music. Signs appeared from nowhere, handwritten on cardboard. "Not in our town." The MC cut my mic mid-drop. "Mr. Harlan," the fair director and Dad's fishing buddy, grabbed my arm. "Sorry, son. Sponsors pulled funding. We can't have this controversy." His voice cracked with awkward pity. I stumbled off stage, equipment case banging against my leg, heart hammering louder than any bass I'd ever played. My mother reached me first, tears streaking her makeup. "Francis, is it true?" Dad wouldn't even look at me. "We raised you better," he muttered, voice tight with disappointment that cut deeper than any shout from the crowd. I tried to explain, but the words stuck. This was supposed to be my triumphant return. Instead, it was the moment my carefully built closet door was kicked open by an anonymous post. Back at the house that night, the silence was heavier than the booze. Mom made coffee out of habit while Dad paced the kitchen. "People are talking, Francis. The store's reputation." He stopped, shaking his head. I sat there, 28 years old, feeling like the scared teenager who once hid magazines under his mattress. My phone buzzed nonstop, hate messages mixed with a few supportive texts from distant cousins. Then one name flashed across the screen that made my chest tighten. Philip. We hadn't spoken in months, not since our last fight in Chicago where I begged him to keep things quiet, because coming out would destroy my budding career and my family ties. Philip had always been the brave one, the one who said hiding was slowly killing us both. Now his text read simply, "I saw what happened. I'm driving down. We need to talk." I stared at the words until the screen blurred. Philip, tall, kind-eyed, the man who made me feel seen for the first time. The man I had pushed away to protect this very moment that was now shattered anyway. The next morning brought the second shock. My agent in LA called at dawn. "Francis, you're not going to believe this. Horizon Music Festival just emailed. They want you as a last-minute headliner replacement. Stage 2, prime slot, full production. It's international, thousands of fans from everywhere. They saw the viral clip of your set getting cut off and loved the energy. Said it shows real passion." I sat bolt upright in my childhood bed, the same room with faded baseball posters. Horizon was huge. Artists from Berlin, Tokyo, Rio. Headlining it could launch me globally. But it meant leaving Willow Creek immediately, facing the world as an out gay man, and deciding if I could ever come back. Dad overheard and slammed the door on his way to the store. Mom hugged me tight. "Maybe this is a sign, honey. But please, think about us too." I packed my bags with shaking hands, the cancellation still burning like a brand. Little did I know the festival invite was only the beginning of a journey that would test every relationship I had left. As the highway stretched toward the airport, I replayed every choice that led here. High school dances where I danced with girls to keep up appearances. Late nights in college mixing tracks alone because I couldn't risk bringing anyone home. The first time Philip smiled at me across a Chicago club, and everything clicked into place. Now the secret was out, the hometown show was gone, and an international stage waited. The question was whether I had the courage to step onto it as myself. The flight to Los Angeles felt like crossing more than states. I stared out the window, earbuds playing my own unreleased track, the one I wrote about hidden love and quiet fear. Landing at LAX, the warm California air hit me like possibility. A festival runner met me with a lanyard and a schedule. "Mr. Reynolds, welcome. Rehearsal tomorrow. The crowd's going to love you." I nodded, but inside the doubt roared. Back home, Dad's text waited. "Think about what you're doing to your mother." Philip's message followed. Landed in LA too. "Meet me at the hotel bar." That night, under the neon of the festival pre-party, I spotted him across the room. Philip, 31 now, producer badge around his neck, same gentle smile that once made my world steady. He stood up when I approached. "Francis." His voice was soft, careful. We hugged, the kind of hug that carried years of unsaid words. But before I could speak, an old high school friend from Willow Creek appeared. Tyler, the guy who always joked about real men. He had moved to LA for work and somehow scored festival tickets. "Dude, I saw the video. Rough break. But hey, good for you know." His tone dripped with the same small-town judgment. Philip's jaw tightened. The misunderstandings started right there, a seed of doubt planted before the festival even began. I went to bed that night in the festival hotel, the cancellations still echoing, the headliner slot feeling both like salvation and a spotlight I wasn't sure I deserved. Tomorrow would bring rehearsal, old wounds, and the first real test of whether love could survive when everything else had been stripped away. The rehearsal tent buzzed with energy the next morning, bass lines thumping from every corner as international DJs fine-tuned their sets. I adjusted my headphones, trying to lose myself in the music, but my mind kept drifting back to Willow Creek. The cancellation wasn't just a gig lost. It was the public stripping of the mask I had worn for 28 years. Dad's last words before I left still rang in my ears. "If you walk out that door as this, don't expect the family business when I retire." Mom had cried quietly, hugging me at the airport with the same worried eyes she had when I was a kid afraid of thunderstorms. Philip waited for me after my sound check, 2 coffees in hand, the way he always did back in Chicago when I'd pull all-nighters mixing. "You killed it out there," he said, handing me the cup. His fingers brushed mine, a small touch that sent familiar warmth through me. We found a quiet corner behind the stage, palm trees swaying overhead. "I never wanted this for you," he continued. "The outing. The pain. But Francis, hiding was tearing you apart. Maybe this is the push you needed." I wanted to believe him. Philip had been my anchor since we met at a Chicago underground club 3 years ago. He was a rising producer, confident in his own skin, out since college. I was the closeted DJ from Kansas who flinched every time someone asked about my dating life. Our first real conversation happened over cheap beer after my set. He listened as I spilled everything. The fear of disappointing my parents, the guilt of pretending at family holidays, the way music became my only honest voice. That night we kissed in the alley behind the venue, and for the first time I didn't feel alone. But keeping it secret had its cost. Late-night calls where I whispered I loved him because saying it out loud in daylight felt dangerous. Weekends stolen in his apartment, never posted on social media. When he pushed for more, meeting friends, maybe even coming out together, I pulled away. My family would never understand, I'd say. The last fight before the fair was brutal. He had asked me to spend Christmas with his parents in Chicago. I refused, citing a fake family obligation. "I can't keep being your secret, Francis," he had said, voice breaking. We hadn't spoken properly until the cancellation text. Now here we were, festival badges around our necks, the Pacific Ocean glittering in the distance. "Tyler texted me last night," Philip said suddenly, eyes darkening. "Said he was sorry about the leak, but thought I should know you were still hiding things from me." My stomach dropped. Tyler, the same guy who had been my best friend in high school, the one I trusted with almost everything except the truth. He had visited me in Chicago once and seen a photo of Philip on my phone. I had lied, said he was just a collaborator. Apparently Tyler had dug deeper, found the Pride picture, and in some misguided attempt to help me face reality, posted it anonymously. The betrayal stung like salt in a fresh wound. I didn't know, I whispered. Philip's face softened, but the hurt was there. I believe you. But Francis, secrets have a way of destroying trust. Even if Tyler started it, you kept feeding the silence. We sat in heavy silence until a festival coordinator called my name for lighting cues. The afternoon blurred into more rehearsals, my set list evolving as I poured the pain into new drops, harder bass, lyrics about breaking free that I had never dared record before. That evening, a video call from Mom came through. She looked tired on the screen, Dad visible in the background pretending to read the newspaper. "The church group is praying for you," she said carefully. "They think this festival thing is a phase. But honey, we love you. Just come home when it's over and we'll figure it out." Dad grunted something about real responsibilities. I ended the call with a lump in my throat, the weight of their expectations pressing down even from 1,000 miles away. Philip found me afterward on the beach near the venue, waves crashing softly. We walked without speaking at first, sand cool under our shoes. "I'm scared," I admitted finally. "Scared that if I fully step into this, into us, the family I've known my whole life will disappear." He stopped, turning to face me. The sunset painted his face in gold. "Love isn't supposed to make you choose between pieces of yourself, Francis. But if you do have to choose, I'll stand with whatever decision you make. That's what real partnership means." His words hung between us, tender and terrifying. Back at the hotel, Tyler showed up unannounced at the bar, beer in hand, looking sheepish. "Look, man, I thought exposing it would force you to live free. I didn't mean for the whole town to turn on you." His apology felt hollow against the memory of Dad's slammed door. Philip stood beside me, silent support. I told Tyler the truth about the hurt he caused, the friendships fractured. He left with a nod, but the rift with my past felt wider than ever. As I lay in bed that night, festival lights flickering through the curtains, the big turning point loomed. Tomorrow was the first full production run-through. The headliner slot wasn't just a gig. It was the stage where I would have to decide if I could perform as the man I truly was, or keep hiding pieces to please people who might never accept me. Philip's breathing beside me was steady, a reminder that one person already did. The question was whether that would be enough. The next day brought more than music. A surprise visit from my childhood pastor back home via video message. "Son, the Lord loves you, but this lifestyle," I deleted it before finishing. Instead, I channeled the anger into my set, tweaking the final track to include a spoken-word sample about truth setting you free. Philip watched from the control booth, pride in his eyes mixed with worry. The misunderstanding about Tyler lingered like a shadow, but we were talking again, really talking. By evening, the festival grounds filled with early arrivals, laughter and bass pulsing everywhere. I stood on the empty main stage, imagining thousands of faces. The cancellation in Willow Creek had stripped me bare. The headliner call had given me wings. Now I had to learn to fly without looking back, even if it meant sacrificing the only home I had ever known. The festival atmosphere thickened as opening day arrived, tents glowing under strings of lights and the scent of street tacos mixing with ocean breeze. I spent the morning in the artist lounge, headphones on, finalizing transitions while my mind raced through every possible outcome. What if the crowd rejected me like Willow Creek had? What if the viral cancellation clip made me a punchline instead of a headliner? Philip sat across from me, laptop open, tweaking my set visuals. "You're overthinking," he said gently, sliding a fresh coffee my way. His presence was the one steady thing in the chaos. Flashbacks kept hitting me at the worst moments. The night Philip and I first said, "I love you," curled on his couch after a long set, rain tapping the windows. He had traced the tattoo on my wrist, the one I got after my first big Chicago gig, and whispered it so softly I almost missed it. I had frozen, then set it back, terrified but alive. Now, with everything exposed, that memory felt both precious and fragile. A text from an old Willow Creek buddy popped up. "Loyal Sarah, the girl who had been my prom date to keep up appearances. The town split. Some are boycotting the hardware store, but a few of us are proud of you. Don't let them win." Her words gave me a spark of hope, but Dad's silence hurt more. Mom had sent a photo of the empty store shelves, hinting at lost customers. The family pressure wasn't just emotional, It was financial too. I had always planned to help them retire comfortably. Now that future seemed like another casualty of my truth. During afternoon rehearsal, things escalated. A producer from a rival stage cornered me. Heard about the hometown drama. Bold move coming here so soon. You sure you're ready for prime time as you know? His smirk made my blood boil. Philip stepped in smoothly, badge flashing. He's more than ready. And the crowd will see that tonight. The confrontation left me shaken, but Philip's defense reminded me why I had fallen for him. Later, alone in the green room, we talked about the betrayal. Tyler thought he was helping, but he broke something between us, I said. Philip nodded. Trust can be rebuilt, Francis. But it takes both of us choosing honesty now. The big turning point came during the evening production meeting. The festival director announced a last-minute change. My set would include a live interview segment where I could speak about my journey. My hands went cold. This was it, the moment I couldn't hide anymore. Philip squeezed my shoulder. You don't have to do anything you're not ready for. But if you do, I'll be right there. That night we walked the festival grounds, hand in hand for the first time in public. The simple act felt revolutionary. Couples around us smiled without judgment. A group of fans recognized me and cheered. For the first time since the cancellation, I felt seen without shame. But family didn't let go easily. A late call from Mom brought tears. Your father cried today, Francis. He thinks he failed you somehow. The guilt crashed over me like a wave. Philip listened as I paced the hotel room, then pulled me into a hug. You didn't fail them. They're failing to see the sun they already have. His words were the anchor I needed. We stayed up talking until dawn, about sacrifice, about what love really cost. I realized I had sacrificed years of happiness for their approval. Now the festival offered a chance to sacrifice the fear instead. The next morning, a package arrived at the hotel, my old high school Letterman jacket, sent by Sarah with a note. Wear this tonight. Show them strength looks like you. I smiled through fresh tears. Philip helped me pack my stage bag, his touch lingering. The misunderstandings were clearing, but the rift with Tyler still festered when he texted an apology video. I replied honestly. I forgive you, but I need time. Friendship, like family, wasn't automatic anymore. It had to be earned through truth. As the sun set on opening night, the festival exploded into life. My turn approached. Standing backstage, bass from the previous act vibrating through my chest, I felt the psychological weight of every decision. The cancellation had been the shock. The headliner invite the unexpected door. Now the choice was mine. Step out as Francis the gay DJ who loved Philip, or retreat into the safety that had never really been safe. Philip kissed my forehead. Whatever happens out there, I'm proud of you. The stage lights hit me like a new beginning. The crowd roared as my intro track dropped. I raised the mic and spoke the words I had practiced in the mirror. Willow Creek tried to silence me. Tonight, I'm speaking louder than ever. The cheers that followed carried me through the first drop, but deeper inside, the real battle raged, between the boy who wanted his father's approval and the man who wanted to live free. The set built momentum, lights sweeping across thousands of faces from every corner of the world. I mixed in tracks that told my story without words, slow builds into explosive drops that mirrored the emotional storm inside. Fans waved flags, some rainbow, some just cheering for the music. Philip stood side stage, nodding along, his presence giving me courage I didn't know I had. Halfway through, the interview segment arrived. The host handed me the mic. Francis, your story went viral for all the wrong reasons. How does it feel to stand here now? I paused, heart pounding. It feels terrifying and liberating. I spent years hiding because I thought love for my family meant erasing part of myself. The cancellation hurt, but it forced me to see that real acceptance starts with me accepting me. The crowd erupted. I glanced at Philip, his eyes shone with pride. Back home, I knew Mom was watching the live stream. Dad probably wasn't. The sacrifice felt real in that moment. I might lose them forever. But the music carried me forward. After the set, adrenaline still buzzing, Philip and I slipped away to a quiet VIP area. You were incredible, he said, pulling me close. The embrace was warm, safe, the kind that made all the months of distance dissolve. We talked for hours about the future, maybe moving in together in Chicago, recording an album about our journey. But the past wasn't done with us. A message from Tyler arrived. Saw the set. You changed my mind about a lot of things. Sorry for the pain I caused. I showed Philip. Maybe friendships can heal too, he said. The next day brought the real test. My agent called with news. A major label wanted to sign me, but only if I leaned into the out and proud narrative. It's your moment, Francis. But it means no more hiding anywhere. I sat with Philip on the hotel balcony, ocean breeze ruffling our hair. This could be everything I dreamed of, I told him. But it also means my family might never speak to me again. He listened without pushing, the way only someone who truly loved you could. Whatever you choose, I'm here. That's my promise. Flashbacks flooded me again. The day I left Willow Creek for college, Dad loading my car with tools from the store, Mom packing sandwiches. They thought I was chasing a music dream. I was actually running from the truth. Now the truth had caught up in the brightest spotlight imaginable. The psychological toll showed in sleepless nights, but Philip's steady presence helped me process it. We shared stories of our own family struggles. His parents had accepted him early, mine still fought the reality. A surprise visitor arrived mid-afternoon, Sarah from back home, who had flown out on her own dime. I couldn't let you do this alone, she said, hugging me tight. Over lunch, she told me the town gossip had shifted slightly. Some people were asking questions, wondering if they had been too harsh. Your dad's been quiet at the store, she added. I think he's thinking. The news gave me a sliver of hope, but the betrayal by Tyler still lingered as a lesson in how even good intentions could wound. That evening's performance was even bigger. I dedicated a track to the ones who stay when the world walks away. Philip stood beside me on stage for the final drop, not performing but present. The crowd sensed the moment, phones up, lights flashing. Afterward, in the dressing room, we shared a quiet kiss. Nothing flashy, just real. I'm ready to stop sacrificing pieces of us, I told him. The decision felt like growth, like the man I was becoming. But family pressure peaked with a long voicemail from Dad. Son, I watched part of your set. I don't understand it all, but I see you're happy up there. Just don't forget where you come from. The words cracked something open inside me. Mom followed with a text. We're trying, Francis. Come home when you can. The partial acceptance was a bridge, fragile, but there. Philip celebrated with me that night, walking the beach under stars. See? Sometimes love doesn't require full sacrifice, just patience. The festival continued, each day layering more confidence. Old friends from Chicago reached out, proud. New fans shared their own coming-out stories in DMs. The journey of self-discovery wasn't linear, but the headliner slot had become the turning point I needed. Misunderstandings with Philip cleared completely when we talked openly about the Tyler leak. I never doubted you, he said. The friendship rift with Tyler began mending too through honest calls. By the end of the week, I stood on stage again, this time with a new track I had written on the spot about second chances. The crowd sang along to the hook. Philip watched from the wings, our future brightening. The psychological weight lifted slightly, replaced by quiet strength. I had faced the cancellation, the outing, the family expectations, and come out stronger. But the biggest test waited back home after the festival ended. The final weekend of the festival arrived with a sense of culmination. My sets had become must-see events, fans chanting my name before I even stepped on stage. The international crowd, people from Brazil, Japan, Germany, showed me that acceptance wasn't limited by zip codes. Yet every night after the lights dimmed, the texts from home pulled me back. Mom sent photos of the hardware store with a few rainbow stickers in the window, a small act of solidarity that meant everything. Dad's messages remained short but softer. Safe travels when you're done. The progress felt earned, not given. Philip and I spent stolen hours between shows talking about the future. I want to produce your album, he said one afternoon, sunlight streaming through the hotel blinds. Not as a secret collaborator, as your partner, out in the open. The word partner settled warmly in my chest. We had survived the cancellation, the leak, the misunderstandings. Now love felt like a choice we both made daily. But sacrifice still hovered. I had turned down a family reunion invitation to stay for the closing night, knowing it might widen the rift. Philip understood without me explaining. Your growth is worth it, he reminded me. A turning point came during a quiet dinner with Sarah and a few new festival friends. Tyler joined via video, apologizing again and sharing how watching my sets had changed his views on masculinity. I was wrong to out you, even indirectly, he said. The group conversation turned deep, stories of family rejection, of friends who stayed, of the courage it took to live authentically. I realized the emotional journey wasn't just mine, it connected all of us. Philip held my hand under the table, a silent promise. The climax built on the final night. My headliner set was scheduled for prime time, fireworks planned for the finale. Backstage, nerves mixed with excitement. Mom called unexpectedly. "Your father and I are watching together," she said, voice thick. "We're proud, Francis. It's not easy, but we're trying." Dad's gruff, "Yeah," in the background was the closest he had come to acceptance. Tears stung my eyes as I stepped onto the stage. The crowd was massive, a sea of lights and energy. I opened with the track about hidden truths breaking free. Mid-set, I brought Philip out. "This song is for the man who never gave up on me," I said into the mic. The crowd roared as we shared the moment, not dramatic, but real. The dedication marked the emotional peak, public, unashamed, mine. Fireworks exploded overhead as the final drop hit, confetti raining down. In that instant, all the pain of the cancellation, the family pressure, the friendship rifts, transformed into something powerful. I had grown. I had chosen myself and the love that supported it. Afterward, in the after-party tent, Philip pulled me aside. "You did it. You faced everything. We talked about going home together, about visiting Willow Creek as a couple, about building a life where no one had to hide. The misunderstandings were resolved, the betrayal processed, the sacrifices reframed as necessary steps." Sarah hugged us both. "You two are goals," she laughed. Even Tyler sent a congratulatory text. The psychological consequences of the journey settled into quiet strength. I no longer feared the truth. I owned it. The headliner call had changed my fate, but my decisions had shaped the man I became. As the festival lights faded, I felt ready for whatever came next. Family conversations, new music, a future with Philip. The flight back to Kansas felt different this time. Philip sat beside me, our hands linked openly. The festival had ended on a high, my sets praised in reviews as authentic and electrifying. Labels called daily, but the real victory was internal. I had faced the cancellation that started it all, the outing that forced honesty, the family expectations that nearly broke me, and emerged with deeper relationships. We landed in Wichita and drove straight to Willow Creek. The hardware store looked the same, but a small pride flag fluttered beside the American one. Mom met us at the door, hugging Philip first. "Welcome to the family," she whispered. Dad stood behind her, awkward but present. "Son," he said, extending a hand to Philip. "Heard you make good music too." The moment wasn't perfect. Conversations would take time, old habits lingered, but it was a beginning. Over dinner, stories flowed. I shared the festival highs, the low of the cancellation, the way Philip stood by me. Dad listened, nodding. "Didn't raise you to run from hard things," he admitted. "Guess I need to learn too." The rift with Tyler mended over coffee the next day. He apologized in person, and we laughed about old times. Friendship, once fractured, grew stronger through truth. Weeks later, back in Chicago, Philip and I moved in together. My new album, titled Headliner Heart, dropped with tracks about the journey. The music video featured festival footage and a quiet scene of us on the Kansas porch with my parents. Fans connected, sharing their own stories. The emotional arc had closed, from shock and rejection to love and acceptance. I stood on our balcony one evening, Philip's arms around me, city lights below. The boy who hid in small-town shadows had become the man who headlined the world. Sacrifices had been made, but the rewards, authentic love, family trying, self-respect, outweighed them. The journey proved that facing the truth, no matter how painful, leads to the life you were meant to live. Is family acceptance necessary for true happiness, or is self-love enough? True or false?